So today let's explore a question that I've gotten emailed to me or DM'd to me more than a few times. Kaylin, they ask, how much masturbation is too much? Is there such a thing as too much self-loving? Well, rather than just replying to these few people directly, I thought this could be a wonderful topic for a YouTube video. So if self-loving is your jam, no matter how you identify, whether it's as a baiter or straight or gay or whatever, this conversation is for you. So hey, it's very nice to get to meet you all, if we've not encountered each other before. My name is Kaylin. I'm an ecstatic spiritual life coach, author of the self-help book, Journey to the Ecstatic Self, the fantasy novel I Dreamt of Flight, and the host of this YouTube channel where we explore the intersection of spirituality, sexuality, identity, and finding belonging. And if you haven't yet, please do hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell next to it, to be alerted about upcoming videos that I post. Alright, so masturbation. Honestly, it's one of my favorite topics and one of my favorite things to do. I am definitely somebody who identifies as a little autosexual. Like, my sex life with myself is very important. It is one of the things that brings me a tremendous amount of joy. And I say that as a happily married person who has wonderful sex with his husband at least once a day, sometimes more, and then also sex with other people in addition. Regardless of how wonderful and enjoyable those things are, my love time with myself is really sacred and important and beautiful and nourishing. Long before I ever considered having sex with someone else, I explored masturbation. I started when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it was fantastic. It was phenomenal. It was actually so fulfilling. That was part of the reason I was so delayed in my coming out and exploring sexually with other individuals, because I so liked the self-sexual, autosexual experience. Now, I've made several other videos on how masturbation can be used as a spiritual practice for your own evolution, to help create more enlightenment within you, to create greater joy. So you can check out those videos if you want more specifics about practices you can do to cultivate that. But today the question is, how much is too much? And certainly obvious things, right? If your partner is saying, I'd like to have more sex with you, but you really seem disinterested, maybe you're ejaculating too frequently, maybe you need to reorient some of your energy towards them, that's certainly a thing. Or certainly if larger life sort of things are not getting fulfilled, like I can't go to work, I forgot to pick up the kids, I can't walk my dog because I'm so busy furiously masturbating, then perhaps that's too much. But from an energetic perspective, any amount of self-pleasuring and self-connection I think is absolutely wonderful. Myself personally, I can easily go 3, 4, 5, sometimes more hours per day. And that isn't me just sitting there whacking off to the exclusion of everything else. That's me doing that while replying to emails, editing my audiobook, cooking dinner, walking the dog even sometimes if nobody's around. Certainly while driving the car. Driving is a wonderful time for me for exploring self-touch. Now, part of the reason I can do those things and also be enjoying self-pleasuring is that for me, masturbation isn't so much an external experience, aka watching porn. For me, part of the fun of masturbation is the self-connection that happens, the awareness of what's going on in my body, how is the energy flowing within me, how do I use this amazing, beautiful sexual organ to generate even more juiciness, even more love, even more tingles, and move it through my body. I think a lot of times when I hear people feeling frustrated by how much they're masturbating, it isn't actually about the act itself so much as it is about their consumption of pornography. Now, I want to be upfront that I am not a pornography negative person. Like, I don't think porn is bad. I don't really think anything in this world is inherently bad or good. It's your relationship to it. And certainly if pornography is making you feel not good, then you need to examine your relationship with it. But, for myself, I don't engage with porn a ton. But when I do, I'm like, oh, this looks sacred. This is beautiful. Look at that. Those sexual organs coming together. Look at the pleasure and connection being generated between them. I think there is nothing more holy or beautiful than watching two people engage in intercourse. But I didn't used to feel that way. For a long period of my life, if I watched porn, I felt really icky afterwards. I felt really kind of dirty and degraded. But that's not the case for me, and that's not where I'm at. Question is for you, is that your experience or is it something different? And there's certainly a lot of correlation between the amount of pornography you consume and how you feel. It's not so much whether you do or not, it's how many different scenarios, how many different people are you encountering. Like if we're gonna go old school and you're interacting with an old Playboy magazine or something, you're only gonna see a certain number of individuals in a given time. But in the age of the internet, you could literally sit there and look at a few thousand different people or a few thousand different sexual arrangements if you're gonna sit there all day. And that really kind of fucks with our brain. It overstimulates the dopamine receptors. So it's something I'm really conscious of of that if I'm going to engage with pornography, I try to limit the amount or the number of individuals that I'm interacting with. But honestly, it's not my jam anyway. There really is no hard and fast rule about how much masturbation is too much. I have acquaintances who quite literally ejaculate 16 times a day. And no, they're not 14 years old. They're full-grown adults. They're in their 30s. Late 30s. I myself don't come that often. I'm more of a once a day kind of guy, but I love to be in sexual connection with myself because when I stimulate my sexual organs, and this is true for anybody, if you do it consciously and with focus and attention, it can generate energy within you that can then be used to create more vitality and life force and energy. I often think of penises and vaginas as being like energy building machines, like battery chargers. Do you remember back to the old Looney Tunes cartoons where when like one of the characters was gonna blow up a mountain, they'd put the TNT out and then get that box with the handle and pump it to create a charge? That's what I view our sexual organs as being like. These amazing tools that when used and stimulated, they create energy. And if you want to do that for 10 hours a day and you do it in a mindful way and you're still getting everything else done that you need to in life, then mazel tov for you. Awesome, that's great. I also want to just tangentially mention, I saw a meme the past week that said something like, you give a man enough porn, sex, easily accessible food, and Netflix, and they'll never achieve anything in life. How sad for them. And as a recovering overachiever, I took ire at that because it's like, I'm a fairly busy person. I get a lot of shit done. I've written a couple books, I've made a feature-length film, I host this YouTube channel, I manage my relationship, my caring for my animals, and running several different social media platforms. And even with all of that, I have worked very hard to realize that achievement in life is not by how much I produce, but with the quality in which I live. And so I've reached a point where I say, hey, if you never achieve anything, but you're in beautiful connection with another human being, you're living gracefully with love and compassion and respect, and you love what you do, who gives a fuck what you achieve? So if you're having great sex and having good food and enjoying your life, great for you. Why do we have to measure our personal success with what we achieve in the world? Tangent, but still, if you want to masturbate or have sex all day and it brings you joy and your partners are happy with it, then good for you. And if masturbation is something you don't do, if it's not something you connect with, how do you feel about that? Does that feel good for you? I know I've definitely gone through periods of my life where I've felt less sexual or less interested in engaging, and it's been fine, but I've noticed that the sparkle is kind of gone from my life. And I'm really grateful that most of the time I'm in a very sexually aroused state because I think it just makes life juicier. And if you think all of this conversation we're having is antithetical to a spiritual life about cultivating wisdom and self-knowledge and knowledge of the cosmos and God and creation and all that stuff, then I do recommend you watch more of this YouTube channel because through knowing ourselves, through knowing our bodies, through knowing our minds, we get to know everything. We get to know how the world works. We get to know creation. And so they're not separate journeys. The journey in and the journey out are actually the same path. So stroke up, choke that chicken, do whatever you do or call it, and have some fun. And just notice, how do you feel? If it's giving you life, great, enjoy it, do more of it. If it's making you feel not so good, examine your relationship with it. I hope this is helpful. If you ever have any questions you want to ask, feel free to DM me or shoot me an email and I'm happy to create a video on it. Also feel free to join me here on YouTube at 6 p.m. every Sunday Eastern Time for a live meditation class on a topic where you're also welcome to ask any questions if you have it. And if you ever want some assistance on going deeper in your own personal spiritual journey, check out my website, ecstaticself.com, where you can work with me one-on-one on learning some very valuable tools for transformation and growth. It's a pleasure to be here with you.